Hello, welcome to Cerulean Arts Gallery. Tonight we are speaking with Colleen O'Donnell in conjunction with her Cerulean Collective Exhibition, which is on view now through February 11th. Hey, Colleen.
Hi, how are you, Mike?
I'm good. Yourself?
Good, good.
So I'm going to, let's see, highlight Tina's video here. So tell us a little bit about yourself and the show.
Okay. Well, I studied at the Pennsylvania Academy of Fine Arts. I mostly focused on figure sculpture at that time and have a lot of experience with that. But I've also done a lot of painting too. In this show, I decided to show some of my paintings. And I think when you look at, well, I made a trip out to New Mexico a couple years ago and was very taken with the landscape there and the canyons and the rocks and the desert. It's just so different from back east in Philadelphia. And this one here, we went to George O'Keeffe's house, of course, and through the door there on the left, you can see one of her sculptures from the side view.
So is she an influence for you?
Yeah, yeah, I love the simplicity, seeming simplicity of her, some of her later work and her sculpture, um, and just kind of getting the essence of things, and also bringing in the wonderful elements of modern art that I enjoy a lot, big shapes and things of that nature. And this next piece here, that's one of her sculptures. We were able to see through the window. We weren't allowed to go into her studio, so that's the courtyard with the sculpture in there. So there was a screen and wooden posts. So I decided to add that on as a combine in this painting. And
Because you also do like assemblage type sculptures.
yes, yep, I do a lot of assemblage and yeah, I do just about everything. Um,
Yeah, it's
a
interesting to
lot of
see
drawing.
over the years your work,
Hmm.
sort of change and evolve. And I mean, in the beginning, it was all figurative
Hmm.
bronzes.
Right, right. Yeah. That, when I guess the big change was when COVID hit, and I didn't, all my figurative classes stopped and everything. And I was at home with all this stuff I had collected and started to use it for sculpture. And that's how I started really doing assemblage. I always wanted to. I was collecting things, but then I actually was doing it.
Mm. And you were teaching like a Zoom assemblage class.
Yeah. So I thought, well, I bet there's other people too that have collected stuff and want to put make art out of it. And so I've been teaching that uh, as a Zoom class. So,
Mhm.
so we have all our stuff at home. So it's easier
Right, makes
do
sense.
it that way than lug everything in to a
Hmm.
studio. Um, and then I've always been painting, and this one here is more abstract. It's like how New Mexico rain when the rain comes down and all the colors kind of melt. I think we see that a lot through our car windows. We get that kind of feeling of colors
Like the
blending.
blur.
Yeah, yeah.
And so are these two like a pair, the sculpture and the painting?
This sculpture and then the drawing to the right actually is more, yeah, the little drawing there.
Mhm.
That's a colored pencil drawing I did out there. The drawings I did when I was there. And then I came back home and started to do the paintings and then the sculpture. I love clay, so I had to do some clay pieces. So it's based on most of the clay pieces are based on drawings that I did out there. Um, yeah, so like and the painting has, figurative elements in it, and I think the sculptures do too, because that's kind of how I see things. I think that's what drew me to figure sculpture in the first place.
I mean, you see figures in the landscape.
Yeah, more or less, and then I kind of accentuated it, of course, and brought it out more.
Hmm.
And I kind of had fun with it, just and the idea of, everything having a spirit, the rocks and the desert and the
Is
plant
that
life.
the philosophy you have?
Yeah, yeah. Some, Native American ideas about, things in nature, things that we're are all connected to. Um, and so that was a big influence on this body of work. I kind of really tried to accentuate that um, even more, and also at the time when I painted some of these here, we were launching civilians into space for the first time. And so all of a sudden it wasn't that far away. It seemed like they would go up for a little while and come back down the same day. And so that really struck me too as something that was so far away now isn't doesn't seem so far away anymore.
Mhm. Hmm.
And that kind of feeling of transparency, just the you know, going through the blue into the black and vice versa.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, and the rocks out there, they seem so solid and strong, and yet they're all crumbling. So I found that to be fascinating. Like this, there's a fragility there, and I think it's something that speaks to a lot of us now, realizing the fragility of our planet in general. So I had all those things going on, and just the beauty of it too, and how special it is.
So you've
Mm.
been traveling a bit the last few years, right?
Yeah, yeah,
So that's definitely sort of influenced your work then.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, this is a colored pencil I did out there. We were walking through, they call them slot canyons, where
Mm.
you walk through.
Hmm.
Yeah, it feels like a slot you walk through. And depending on, how the light hits it and everything, and how the colors bounce around. And of course, I just had fun with the color and exaggerated it. It's not meant to be exactly representational or anything like that. It's just kind of how I felt when I was there, um, and how I feel about feel about that. And yeah. And this one here is kind of a more of a close up of one of the other works in the show. Again, these canyons that I see these kind of figurative elements in them, and they're really huge, and yet at the same time they're crumbling, so they're fragile. Um,
Hmm.
and so that's kind of like that juxtaposition of things. And then I put the black there, like I had mentioned. At that time, we were kind of getting glimpses of space as
Ah,
civilians.
uh-huh.
Yeah. So it's like, okay. They just brought a piece of an asteroid back. They just opened up.
Mm.
So I follow all that too. I like
Uh-huh.
that. And then, yeah, the sculpture.
So what clay are you using for this?
It's stoneware, ceramic clay, and then I put a underglaze on it, and then I go over it with paints and sealant.
And do you do that after it's fired or before?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The underglaze can go on before it's fired.
Mhm. And it's fired in a kiln.
Yes, yeah, fired in a kiln about 2100 degrees, I believe. And
For
so
how long?
very solid.
Uh-huh. How long did the
Probably
fire?
about 8 hours or so. Um, so yeah, it's a big undertaking.
Where do you do that?
I've been going to a place in Ambler, a studio in Ambler,
Mm,
doing some things there. Um, on the yeah, so the sculpture is based off of the painting here. This is at Ghost Ranch, which is
mm,
around Santa Fe, and the cliffs there. I think they call it Chimney Rock, but I saw figures, so that's what I drew, and that's what I painted, and that's what I sculpted, because that's how it feels to me. I changed it up a little bit, of course. And again, the idea of, outer space not being as far away
mm, mhm,
anymore, and just the spirit of things. Um, things change, at one point. A lot of this was ocean, I guess.
mhm. Right.
So things are changing. And yeah, so the sculpture is based off of this drawing, and I did this out there when we were at Ghost Ranch, a little pencil drawing, about 4 by 6, and yeah, it's kind of uh, yeah, and then yeah, the one next to it is a little bit more transparent, um, and the desert. Um,
The one on the right is very intriguing. It's called
yeah,
Golf Course Albuquerque.
Yeah, that one, we're flying into Albuquerque. No, I had never been out there, so you're flying across, and it's all green, green, green that I'm used to. And then all of a sudden it's desert.
Mm, mhm.
So none of our green colors. And then there's this little oasis, or I didn't know what it was. And my friend I was flying with said, "Oh, it's a golf course."
Yeah, that's such a strange thing to
Yeah,
see.
so it was kind of strange. That was the first thing I did in this series.
Mm, mhm. So did you take a picture of this or draw it or what to remember?
Um, I took a picture and then I did a bunch of little drawings. I changed it up. I moved the golf course around and changed the perspective a little bit to get it at this angle. Um, and then I put the little wing of the plane in there,
Yeah,
which is again the most solid thing is the wing of the plane. Everything else is kind of
I think
soft.
once you see the wing, it sort of locks everything in place because at first it's very ambiguous what what you're looking at. Then you see this like sharply defined wing shape.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was a little contrast with the, you know, geometric, uh, industrial too,
Mhm.
and the soft, natural.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. And this tree I did outside of Santa Fe. Um, the trees are really pretty. They can really see the wood a lot more in the trees, I felt like. But
Yeah, there's a lot of
I guess because
color.
there's not so many, right?
Mm.
What's that, Mike?
Yeah, there's a lot of color everywhere. Like,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
there's like violets and grays and
Hmm.
blues.
Yeah. I didn't see like I'm used to forest and woods and things like that and the trees. Yeah, so it was different seeing a tree like that.
By itself.
Yeah. 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 And that one was, just kind of feeling the kind of it almost like the view is almost transparent in a way, or surreal to me. It's like again, that um, solid rock is seems to be crumbling, and again, our atmosphere is not as big as I thought it was. So I tried to capture that with all these transparent layers and drips and things like that. And
And you're working with acrylic?
yeah, mm-hmm, yep, yeah, yeah. I enjoy acrylic, um, and that's the little sculpture based on some of the rock formations out there. But again, to me, they have the figurative elements in them. Um, the few people had mentioned that at the opening the other night as well. So it's not just me
Yeah,
who's
it
been
definitely
out
has that.
there. And yeah, so that was kind of nice.
And you made these pedestals?
No, they were a gift.
Oh,
No, Joe Brenman was a Philadelphia artist. He passed away, and so his wife gave me the
ah, yeah,
pedestals.
they set off the work nicely.
Yeah, they fit perfect. Yeah. I
It's
really like the steel of it.
yeah, they're different than the usual box
Hmm.
pedestal. It's instead of
Yeah,
open.
yeah, it was really nice of her to do that. I'm very appreciative. Yeah. So then when we went completely different, we went to Ireland where it's all green.
Mhm.
The other side of the color wheel, right?
Great.
Yeah, but this is New Grange, which is one of the oldest archaeological structures. It's like built around 5000 BC
Wow.
by the
This is
farming
called
community.
New Grange.
Yeah, yeah. So they used, they call it a passage tomb, but it can be like a temple kind of a thing as well. There's a number of these in that area, the Bourne Valley. But this is the largest and the most prominent, and it's really quite big, and the stones fit together perfectly, and the white here is marble that was quarried like miles and miles away and brought on the boats up the river, and it's just really impressive in so many ways. And the stones have these carvings of these swirls and some geometric shapes. And, this got transferred into Celtic crosses when Christians came. That kind of patterning goes back, and this is the Stone Age, so it goes way back. And in the winter solstice, the light comes through the little window there and
Oh.
lights up the
Huh.
interior. You can win a lottery ticket and you can go and
Ah,
experience it.
did you buy one?
No, no, not yet. Um, so yeah, I was just really impressed by that. I didn't know all that. And of course, my grandparents are from Ireland, and I
Mm-hmm.
I don't know the history
Mm-hmm.
until I really went over there and experienced it and read about it.
And these are from Ireland, yes, as well.
Yeah, yeah. The yes, this is just enjoying the abundance of grain, the total opposite of New Mexico.
Right.
It was overcast and rainy a lot, but it was fine. It's beautiful country. Um,
So are you painting these directly, like, or do you plot them out, prepare them with drawings,
Usually
or
I do, well, I did some painting directly, smaller little ones, that these are based off of.
mm-hmm.
So more of the tombs. Um, they're smaller ones. Um, And these you can't go in, the new grains you could go in. So I brought these swirls that they carved into the surrounding area. Just thinking about all the people that worked on these things, from quarrying the stones and transporting them and, um, you know, cutting them and fitting them and putting them in place and getting that perfect circle. It's just, come on, it's just in awe of it. So I see these circular carvings as kind of like the spirit of the whole thing, and the people from that time that
Mhm.
built these that I get to enjoy.
Right, your sculptural ancestors.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, it's also a communal thing. So as opposed to an individual artist
Mm,
in a
yeah,
studio, it's a group effort.
yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, like I used to work at the Johnson Atelier, and that's kind of how we worked too, as a group on a lot of larger
Oh, to
projects.
cast sculptures in bronze.
Yeah, yeah, I was in the metal working department.
Yeah, so it's definitely a team effort.
Yeah, yeah. So I could appreciate all the the labor that goes into it. Um,
So Colleen, on Saturday, February 10th, you're going to teach a figure sculpture workshop.
yeah, yeah,
You
that's
talk about that a little bit, like just your approach.
exciting. Yeah, like I say, my work is still rooted in the figure, I think, even though I've gone in a little different direction with it. Um, And so we'll have a life model that we'll be working from, and I go through the basics of structure and anatomy. I know all the anatomy
Mhm.
and enjoy all that and the technical aspects of using the tools and um, but I also of course I think you could see I also enjoy the expressive part of it. That's why I like to make art, is to be expressive. So I really encourage that of my students. So people can go off in their own direction with it, use that as a starting point
Mhm.
if they want, and then I have students that like to focus in on that. So yeah, it's really a great experience. To be able to teach that to people that are that are interested in it.
Yeah, sounds great.
Yeah,
And if people are interested, they can go to the website to the studio page and sign up there.
yeah, yeah.
Well, it's a wonderful show, Colleen. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you, and Tina. You guys are amazing. Yeah.
Thank you.
I really
Let's,
appreciate
well,
it.
this
Yeah.
this is a team effort too. So,
There you go.
well, thanks again and have a great night.
Thanks, Mike. Bye bye. Bye,
Bye.
Tina.